We're going to start off with a little audience participation. I have a question. I want to see a show of hands here, okay? If you have ever forgotten a name, have you ever forgotten a name? That's what I want to know. Okay. This is on, keep your hands up for a second. Keep your hands up. Anyone out there without their hand up? You're all wearing name tags with your name on them so people don't forget your name. That's the addressable market for consumer face recognition. So by the numbers. 150, right? That's Dunbar's number. Robin Dunbar was an archaeologist and evolutionary psychologist, and he studied the evolution of human relationships. And he estimated, give or take, 150 was about the number of people that the average person could maintain relationships with, maintain meaningful relationships. 150 people. 1,500. This is another one of Dunbar's numbers. It's one of his lesser-known numbers. It's not named after him. 1,500 is the number of names that the average person can associate with a face. Every public figure, every politician, every celebrity, every person, every historical figure, every person that you know personally. You can associate about 1,500 names with faces. This is the number that's important to me, okay? This is the number of people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn. We've evolved beyond our ability to manage the size of our networks. This is my grandmother, Mimi. My grandmother, Mimi, was terrible with names. I'm terrible with names. She'd call me Patrick. She'd call Patrick Douglas. She'd confuse the names of her children and grandchildren. I got a phone call a few years ago. Call from my family. They're like, yeah, doctors have diagnosed Mimi with late onset Alzheimer's. Wow. Yeah, that got real. When I got that phone call, I actually went and had a conversation with my doctor about that. It's like, hey, doc, my grandmother's got Alzheimer's. It's like, yeah, some pretty sad news. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, and? It's like, well, she was really bad with names. I'm really bad with names. Like, would you be concerned about this? Yeah, he's kind of like, look. Said, this concerns you. How old is she? Oh, late 80s. Late 80s. How old are you? 40-something? Kept pushing on it, and he was like, look. He said, you have no idea. He said, this is fear over being bad with names is so common. He said, you're not even the first person sitting in that chair across from me today coming to me asking about being bad with names. Everybody's bad with names. Fear over being bad with names is so common. It's like right up there with fear of public speaking. Too soon? We're getting older. We're living longer. Our networks are getting larger. We're evolving beyond the ability to manage the number of people in our networks. This is not a new idea. 6 or 7 years ago, multiple applications for consumer-grade face recognition were introduced at Mobile World Congress. 6 or 7 years have gone by. They've never been introduced on the market. It's because of privacy concerns. When Google launched Google Glass, they banned face recognition apps in the Google Glass store. People fear this technology. It's about agency. People don't like the idea of not having control over their own identity. Consumer face recognition is not about being recognized by strangers that you don't know. The real application for this technology is the ability to recognize and be recognized by the people you do know or people you want to be recognized by. If that wasn't the case, we wouldn't all be walking around with name tags with our names on it right now. But right now, the model for this is that you have a bunch of faces and names up in a cloud and a giant database. And so it's the observer that has all of the control. The observer looks at the observed, references a database in the cloud, and associates a name with that face. And the person that's being identified has no agency over their own identity. So what I've kind of proposed, an idea that I've kind of been evangelizing, is that your face identity be kept on your device, okay? You have an encrypted version of your face identity on your device. Doesn't reference a cloud. Instead, there's a mesh network and other people that also have their face identity on their device are connected to you on a mesh network, connected to each other. There's no reference to the big database in the sky. And that each person would then have control over who is able to see their identity and who is not. You can block people. You can say only people I know can see me, only people in my network, maybe second-degree connections. Find this acquisition very interesting. I think this is a very valuable acquisition. About a year ago, I made some recommendations to some people in the UI department at LinkedIn, some things to do with their website, and caught enough of their attention that they went and made some interface changes based on those recommendations. And once I had their ear, I started evangelizing to them about adding a face recognition feature to their mobile app. Transferred from their UI department to their UX director, and eventually, more recently, spoke to a fellow named Scott Roberts. He's VP of Product and Biz Dev, to get them to incorporate this feature. Imagine if a year from now, instead of walking around with these name tags, you could look around and see who people were, see what their identities were, what their relationship is to you. That would be powerful. Bob Metcalfe was up here speaking shortly ago. And he was talking about the value of the internet was really in its value in connecting people to each other. And if the utility in augmented reality is being able to annotate our view of reality, and if Dunbar is correct, that we've evolved to a point where our networks are much larger than our cognitive ability to manage those relationships. It's my belief that face recognition will be the killer app in mobile augmented reality, in consumer-grade augmented reality. And I believe that having the user have agency over their face profile is the best solution I've come up with to overcome the privacy concerns that have kept this technology that's been available and able to be run on a mobile device for about a decade now, that it's a way to actually bring this technology to market. Thank you very much.